And we are live. Hey, what's going on? This is Sean Mathis from the Agency Alliance, as you can see here. And I've got three top producers with me that have come through our program, and I just wanted to really feature their success. But I can see that we still got some folks logging on. I know some people had some email troubles. So what I want to do is give everybody a couple minutes here, maybe 45 seconds actually, to sign on. We've got everything coming on from skeptics to fans to friends to supporters and everything in between. We've got some referral partners that are logging on because this is actually the first time that we have done anything like this and really featured anybody that's come through our program and featured their success and their agency. And we really try to keep our clients like hush hush and like let them do their thing. And you guys freaking blow me up about wanting to get in touch with my clients, and I do everything possible to keep them from getting blown up by your phone calls because your skepticism isn't their problem. But I decided to go ahead and make a few of them public who have probably already received a few phone calls over time anyway because they're officially out of the program. So now I don't have to protect their identity anymore. They're not my client right now. They're done. They graduated. No, I'm just kidding. So I really appreciate it. We've got Ben Nelson from Farmers Insurance. We've got John Scopic from State Farm Insurance, and we have John Ali, who I've actually had the pleasure of meeting in person from Farmers Insurance. Ben's from Minnesota, John Ali from California, and John Scopic from Illinois. And we still have a few people logging on, so I'm just going to give like a couple more minutes of login time because we don't want anybody to miss it, and then I have to deal with hate mail and your email sucks and the link didn't work and everything else. So we'll just give them a couple more seconds. I was going to have some really cool music come on, but I couldn't get it to work, so it's like kind of the awkward silence or me just babbling on to fill the awkward silence. All right, it's 2:02, so I said I was going to give a couple minutes. I gave a couple minutes. If you missed it, you missed it, and you probably missed a lot of other important things in your life because you just don't show up when you're supposed to on time. And that's just something you're going to have to work out. All right, so we're going to get started with Ben. Yes, I have notes, so if I look down, it's because I'm looking at notes. I'm cheating. I didn't have time to memorize it. So Ben is a graduate from St. John University with a degree in business management. His family's been in the insurance game for 100 years, guys, so he's no stranger to what's going on here in central Minnesota. Prior to becoming a full-time agent with Farmers, Ben was in the district office and helped in a training capacity, and he still works in the district training managers as well as being a full-time agent with Farmers. And he's just about at the 1-year mark owning his agency with Farmers right out of college. So he's going to be one of those lifelong, like, insurance was the first thing I ever did, and, like, he'll be 60 or 70 years old, and it's the only job he ever had. And I know a lot of agents like that, and it's really not a bad gig. I see that a lot in State Farm, actually, like generation after generation. I'm a third-generation State Farm agent. I've actually seen that. Shout out to you, Brittany, if you are watching. Let's see. Ben's favorite clients to work with are young first-time homebuyers because he can help educate them on the value of having good insurance coverages and being active with technology and social media. And that's typically the younger client is also active on social media, and he likes to connect with them that way. So, Ben, man, I really appreciate having you. Thank you for taking some time out of your day. Let's just do a quick little mic check. 1 2 1 2. Can we hear you?
Yeah, I'm here if you can hear me.
Awesome, fantastic. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you got to slang some policies, so we try not to keep you too long. So, Ben, tell us how you got started in the business. I mean, I told him a little bit that you worked in the district office, and you guys have like a century of insurance background. Tell us a little bit about that and why you decided not to be a rebel and step outside of the box and, like, I don't know, be a computer scientist, and you decided to stick with insurance.
Well, I actually interned at the district office when I was still going to school, kind of training stuff, and I was going to become a DM, but decided you can make more money being an agent. Reason I didn't stay in the family business is just because I wanted to move away from home, and I wanted to start my own. I didn't want to move into something right away where you have to take over from day one. It's a lot easier. Well, I shouldn't say it's easier to build your own, but it's a lot easier to take pride in it, being that you're building it from ground zero.
So you could have started into an agency like already going and just walked in and had it going, but you decided to go from ground up?
Yeah, I could have gone and worked with my dad right away if I wanted to, but neither of us really thought that would be the best route. We each thought I should get out and get my own experience. Agency's always there if I were to want to go back, but things are going so well here, I don't have any plans of leaving ever.
Nice. Maybe one day you'll acquire his agency.
Hey, maybe.
So, why did you pick Farmers?
I picked Farmers because it is such an easy company to get a start with. They really help you out. One of my uncles is actually a farmer's agent. He's been in our district for 35 or 40 years, and he had nothing but good to say about farmers. And my dad had nothing good to say about farmers too. So I just thought it was a good fit, and I got along with the DM really well.
Nice. So, what do you find that your clients enjoy most about working with you and your team, and like from when they switch from someone else to you? Obviously, you're not in a situation where you bought a book and it's just like, oh, my family's been insured here for 20 years, so they refer their kids and their grandkids and everything else. So you're building it from scratch. You're getting new clients, and I'd assume that 99% of them are switching from another company. What do they say about working with you, and what do you find that they enjoy about your agency and your team's approach?
The big thing that I pride my agency on is the ease of switching. I take care of everything for them. All I do is have them sign the cancellation form with policy numbers on it, and we fax it to the company, so they don't have to have that awkward situation. And we keep the quoting process and everything as quick as we can. Whenever I quote somebody, I say I'll try and get back to you within the next half hour with your quotes, just so we're not taking up your entire day worrying about insurance. Insurance usually isn't on the top of people's mind, so we try and keep it that way. Save them money quick so they can move on.
Nice. So, how old are you, Ben?
23, just turned.
23. So I've talked to a lot of farmers agents. I'm sure that a lot of them are watching this that are relatively young. What advice would you give to a young guy or girl like yourself who is just stepping into that agency role, maybe watching and trying to figure out, okay, like what's the best thing for me to do here? Because I know a lot of folks in your position, they're nervous because they're young. A lot of times their clients have honestly been dealing with insurance longer than they have, and they sometimes feel like, oh gosh, how am I going to talk to somebody about insurance? I'm brand new. I'm 25 years old. What do you say to that person?
Well, there's a few things. The first one, the biggest thing, is educate yourself before you're going to go out and sell the policies. Know your policy from front to back so you don't come into that awkward situation where you can't answer that question that should be a for sure answer. The second thing is use social media to your advantage. It's an endless source of referrals, and it's so easy. I sent one out on Tuesday, and I think it went to 26,000 people, and it was in the matter of 5 minutes rather than putting together 500 mailers that can take up 2 hours stuffing envelopes.
Right. So talk to me a little bit about the Agency Alliance. We've got a lot of skeptics probably watching right now. Shout out to the skeptics. I love you guys. Your comments on Facebook are hilarious, and I love interacting with you guys. Mwah. I love you. So talk to us about the Agency Alliance, how you found it, and like how you've been able to implement the tools and strategies without getting into like specific things that you do and giving away the trade secrets because you might have a sniper in Minnesota trying to take your ideas. But like, how have you been able to encompass the program into what you're doing and really build upon it and put your agency on the fast track to what you're doing?
Well, first thing, the program's been really awesome. It's taught me how to automate everything and not to waste time. The biggest thing, actually, that's been the most help for me so far is the ease, or how easy it is to send emails to people when you have everything scripted out already, so you don't waste 15 minutes typing that perfect email. You can send one email off to a bunch of people and get a response. That's awesome. If you don't, move on and quit worrying about it. Before I was in the program, I was wasting a lot of time in getting that perfect email out. People don't care if you send the perfect email if you're just info gathering. All they want to do is get it done so they can move on. So that is one of the big things that has came to me from the program. Sorry, what was the rest of the question?
So and let's we just keep moving on, man. So like you've got a lot of referral business now coming in. In fact, you've like secured a relationship with one of the largest real estate companies in your area since I've met you, and you know people just seem to really be enjoying. I watch you on social media, and I watch the engagement and just the referral partners from the different areas, from real estate to lenders to CPAs and financial advisors. The engagement on your page is just really blowing up, and it seems like people are having a blast working with you. I'm in a couple of groups that you're facilitating, and those things are active, and you just got hundreds and hundreds of contacts, and people just like seem to be flocking to some of the stuff that you're doing. You know, talk to us a little bit about that and how that's been able to really help you.
Yeah, well, the thing that I do on those pages is I try not to advertise my agency much. I try and get action from the other real estate agents, loan officers, things like that, just because the more action they have on the page and not just focused around me, I feel the more likely they are to keep posting on that page. Then once I develop a relationship with them, I can have a conversation, get to know them a little more, and then ask for their business. And that's when I really go after the relationship and ask for their referrals. So I use the pages just as a lead source to get their name so I can go meet with them.
Nice, and that's worked out well for you.
Oh yeah, it's worked out awesome. I bet you, well, that the big real estate company that came from doing that, and then other loan officers have came from doing things like that. People don't like just emailing back and forth. You can't develop a relationship. Getting face to face with them eventually is the way that you're going to earn their business.
Right. So you're able to move them from digital relationships, what I call virtual friends, into real relationships that are turning into referral sources and residual referrals, which is amazing. There's one thing about having residual income for insurance, so what if you have residual referrals on top of residual income? It really changes the game up.
Yeah, it's nice just to get that idea in the back of their head that something as simple as helping them out a little bit on social media with linking up with other realtors or new loan officers. It really goes a long way, and they remember you for when you're going to come meet. It's not just another insurance agent trying to get their business.
Nice, man. Well, I really appreciate you here. I'm going to step over to Mr. John Ali, who, like I said, I've had the pleasure of meeting, and two, I appreciate you for taking some time out. You look really dapper over there, man. I love that hairdo you have going on.
Have to look good, man. Have to look good.
Right, I hear you, brother. So John was born in Southern California, and her mom owned her own business, and you know, he saw the value of hard work and entrepreneurship in what she did, and how she treated her families and employees, and you know, he really brings that same thought process and ideology to his agency. I remember setting up John's branding campaign, and when I asked him, you know, what is your agency all about? He said, you know, I really want people to know that I'm a family-oriented guy. I care about their family. It's not just about a policy for me. I want them to really feel like they're part of my family when they join my agency. And you know, a lot of people are so transactional these days, so that really stuck out for me. And you know, after graduating with a double major in marketing and finance, he worked in the hotel industry, where he really perfected the customer service skills, which is an area that I could use help on, and a lot of you sales guys could use help on. But he got married to his beautiful wife in October of 2013. He said she was beautiful. I didn't say she was beautiful. I'm sure she is. I'm not hitting on his wife. But she pushed him to start his own business, which was always a dream of his, which is awesome, man, to have somebody in your corner and really pushing you and supporting you to do your own deal. He joined Farmers, guys, like 14 days. Joined Farmers 14 days into reserve before joining up with us, which is probably one of the, I don't know that anybody has like stepped up to join such an elite program so early on in their career. I don't know that anybody's come in less than 14 days. So I challenge you, if you're watching and you're like 13 days in, step up and you can hold the new record. But for now, John is like the newest, the baby that of all agents that have ever come through this program. And honestly, when he came on, I was really worried, like, oh no, I've got this guy is 14 days in the business, period, not with Farmers. There's a lot of responsibility here. And strangely enough, John has taken more action than probably 95% of the people who have ever been through the program. I mean, just hit the ground running and didn't look back. And I've just really had the pleasure of watching you blow up. and you know, having you part of the program. But tell us, you know, how you got started in insurance. You went from hospitality. Your mom wasn't in the insurance business, so what struck you about insurance, and why did you get into this?
You know what? It's kind of weird. Like when I came on, I actually started off on the recruiting side, and I actually pretty much sold myself the dream. I'm sitting there trying to get people to be agents with farmers, and I'm just realizing, you know, this is it. This is where you need to be. And so I talked to my DM and got the blessing, and I just switched over, and that's pretty much how I came in. So
So you sold yourself. That's
I sold
awesome.
myself. Yeah, I figured if we can sell myself, we can sell
If you can't sell you, then no one can. So
right.
kudos there.
Yeah.
So, you know, what did you think about coming in brand new in the business? You know, Ben came on. He'd been with farmers already for a year, so he had a good feeling of what it was like to be an agent and what a day in the life should look like. Had a little bit of a platform from which to build on. You came on board and like scratch as scratch can get. What was that experience like? And you know, what are you finding that as you're building this business and you know building up this book, what people are gravitating to you and how you're able to get over that hump of being brand spanking new, yet still attract clients at the level that you do.
Honestly, it really just comes to caring. Like you said before, I really, I'm a family man. I really want to make sure I take care of their family. And you just like what Ben said, you really just got to know your product, uh, and you just got to dedicate it. And like for me, it was more like I just can't fail. And no one ever told me you couldn't do it this way. So I was like, all right, well, there's the old school way which works, and there's also this new way that everyone's going to that works too. And why not hit them both up? I mean, just work them both. And the fact of the matter is, with your program, uh, just a shout out to the skeptics too. You know, if you don't do it, don't follow it, you're not going to get anything out of it. You really have to work it. I mean, and yeah, there's some automation to it, and it speeds up a lot of the process. But you really have to work the product. You really have to work the groups. You have to make sure everyone knows there, because if they don't know who you are and they don't see that you're helping them, they're not going to do business with you. That's really just what it comes
Right.
down to.
So, you know, you've really like the reason that you all three of you guys on here because you guys have really shown and really set the standard for agents to come. And I know that Ben has stepped into some of the groups that have come in behind him and really stepped up as a mentor to agents around the country and helped them with different ECMS questions and how to integrate what we're doing with what Farmer Systems has. And then you two have had agents from other classes reach out to you and really, you know, I've used in a lot of the trainings, I'll use both your guys' groups as you know, look what they're doing, look how quickly these things are building, and you've also stepped up and been able to be a resource to other agents around the country who've had far more experience than you in the business and with farmers as well. But you know, talk to us. I know it's a little bit strange, but how the program has been able to help you, even though it really was the only thing that you started with, but you know how it's been able to integrate with what you're also learning through like Farmers University and the things that corporate's teaching you and you know the old school way of things.
Well, yeah, no. What it does is it helps you with farmers. Though they teach you two things. It's like you got to see enough people, and you got to say the right things. What's beautiful about this is going to get you in front of enough people. So even if you don't really know your product all that well just yet, you you're going to get the practice. You know what I mean? So you got to get in front of enough people, and then when you get in front of them, not only you have to say the right things, but you actually have to care and believe what they're saying. You know, so like perfect example was a week ago. Um, I was helping a family out, and the mother-in-law just happened to be there, and she actually gets out of the chair and gives me a huge hug because no one's ever sat down and went over any of their stuff with them. They didn't know what they had, they didn't know that how it worked, and they realized how I was actually there to protect them. And you know, it kind of went from there, and I got like 5 referrals out of that just from that one sit down. But I wouldn't have got to know them or been with them unless I'd used this program because I got their lead through one of my lenders. This was a brand new home buyer, and I got the hookup there, and I actually sat down with them, and then saved me more money by bundling all their stuff together. You know, that's a big deal right now. Everyone wants to bundle, so I mean that's what you got to do. You got to get to know the people to do that.
Right, and I just a testimony. You know, I found someone out in California in your area, I believe, that was looking for a new agent. I sent him over to you, and I got an email back. I think I shared that with you, sent it back, their feedback, and they really liked how you went through the entire policy, what all the coverages meant, and really educated them, which is something that we're missing today. So while I teach a lot of virtual marketing, social media, online automation stuff in the program, we also talk about the importance of still being able to transition that into just bringing more people and having more opportunities to sit down and have those conversations. And she raved about how thorough you were, and she hadn't really even realized what was at risk with insurance. And she obviously had insurance for a very long time, probably 10, 15, 20 years with different companies, and this was the first time out of all that time that somebody actually sat down with their, so kudos to you and your success, man. I really appreciate you being on here, and I want to move over to Mr. Scopic. How are you, man?
I'm doing awesome. I don't mute myself, but I'm doing great.
Awesome. And I can't help but smile to have you on here because the majority of the skeptics are State Farm. So I love you, State Farm agents. You guys are so awesome, and they've been dying to hear from a State Farm agent. And actually, you had posted on one of the comments when I was just like getting this barrage of people, saying, "Oh, I want to talk to an agent," and I was like, "No." And you comment on there, you're like, "They can call me," and I actually went behind you and deleted it. I was like, "No." So I know that a lot of folks on here are probably State Farm and dying to hear if this is actually something that somebody from State Farm has been through, or if I'm just some sort of a fast-talking used car salesman who says that State Farm agents have been through the program. So thank you for taking some time. Just to give you some quick background on Mr. John here. He's a former U.S. Marine, so I appreciate your service, and I know that the folks watching do. Actually, I just learned that when you sent me this bio. I had no idea that you were a Marine.
That's actually an autobiography. I had my sister write that, so I don't even know what it says.
So after leaving the Marines, got into the mortgage and financial services business, and started your first mortgage and financial services company back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Did 8 successful years there in that industry. Sold the company in 2007. And now you went on to be a life and annuity agent in South Florida, and decided to move from sunny Florida to Chicago. We'll not get into why that happened. Holy cow, who does that?
Chasing the money, baby. Chasing the dream.
Yeah, right. South Florida. I thought like everybody eventually tries to transition to South Florida for retirement, but you were like, no, I'm going to go into the cold and snow of Chicago and open an agency. And you did that and officially opened in January, actually, 2014. So the fact, and I'm going to put a couple things into perspective to you that you probably don't even know yet, the fact that you started in 2014 and have had such amazing success in just the first couple quarters of the year is awesome. You went from 56 applications in January to a record 153 apps in April. So just the tremendous 300% growth in the first quarter. As the only agent in the territory, being ranked top 6 in all 6 categories: auto, fire, life, health, bank, and mutual funds. On pace to hit ambassador travel, which I know is like a huge deal at State Farm. In fact, if you've ever worked at State Farm or worked for an agent, you just hear ambassador travel every day, travel. And also on pace to debut top 100 and mutual fund leader among other successful achievements and accolades. Husband and father of 3, and like I said, man, that's awesome. I appreciate your time and sharing your success with us. But how did you get into insurance? I mean, why from financial services and mortgages, where people tend to do quite well financially speaking, go from that business to decide to do the insurance deal, and then why State Farm?
Well, it's in '07 when I sold my company. I had done that for pretty much kind of, for a kid earlier, that was kind of the only thing I'd done my whole life outside of the Marine Corps. So there was a little bit of burnout, and I had a friend who was in the insurance business, just doing life and annuities, and I enjoyed um, the business because I thought it was important. I thought the insurance end of the business is, it's not always sexy and fun and exciting. It's not selling luxury cars, but I think it's important. So I got involved there, and then I got involved in State Farm because I thought it was the opportunity, especially here in Chicago. It's our home market, basically. I just thought it was the best opportunity out there, so here I am.
Awesome. Well, it's not sexy unless you got your hairdo like John Ali's, and then all of a sudden, like, everything changes in insurance. It's just a sexy thing to do.
It is true. It is very true.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from your clients about working with you? And tell us, did you start scratch? Did you take over a book? But what are your clients enjoying about working with the John Scopic agency? What separates you guys?
Yeah, I took over a very messy book. I took over for an agent who shared space with another agent, which is in our world is not ideal. So we moved the office, which was some challenges. It wasn't a very big book. But I think the biggest thing that we've done, and I think the biggest thing for our success is we just make sure that they know that we work for them, that we're here to work as the risk manager, and in a lot of cases, kind of a coach on the financial side. And that's why we've been killing it with multiple lines, because we let them know we're here, we can do all this for them, and the advantage of being with our agency and the advantage of being with having all those things in one place.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what strategies you've taken if somebody has either gotten themselves into a messy book or unfortunately maybe let their book get a little messy. How did you go about cleaning that up? What kind of tips could you give some of the State Farm guys watching or girls who are maybe experiencing that same thing?
Well, the first thing we did is this is kind of this, believe it or not, to break for me today. I think I have 6 appointments, in-book appointments today. So we're trying to meet with every single household. The biggest thing is it's so easy for them to say, no, I don't need to meet with my agent. I don't have any questions or any problems. But we've kind of come at it from a different angle of that it's kind of a mandatory thing that I need to meet with everybody in our book. So we're running probably 30 in-book appointments a week, and we're adding quite a bit of new policies that way. And then as far as our new customers, which is we're adding about 50 to 60 new households a month. It's the same thing. Within 30 days of becoming a client of ours, they have to sit down and meet with me to go over their new coverages, how State Farm works, and the other things that we offer.
And that's awesome. And it's been a while since week 1 when you first started, but and I posted this on Facebook the other day. I believe it was on my business page, that you can't let your clients dictate the way in which you operate your business. And in our program, the very first thing we talk about is setting up sales processes and follow-up processes in a way in which your agency is going to operate. This is the way in which we're going to quote. This is the way that you're going to purchase a policy from us, and adhering to that. And I'm sorry for all 3 of you, but that's why Geico kicks all of y'all's asses when it comes to new business acquisition. Now, retention and profitability, that's a whole other thing, but they may even have both companies on profitability. I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but definitely from a new business standpoint, because they have strict sales processes and follow-up processes that they adhere to, that they do not deviate from. Those calls are recorded, and those people in those queues they don't dictate, they don't deviate from those processes. And a lot of times as agents, we like to try to sell to what we think our client wants, and try to mirror ourselves to who's in front of us. And honestly, that's what a lot of salespeople teach us is mirror your client and mirror the body language. But what you end up doing is introducing all these different variables each time you go through the sales process, and you can't ever dial in what's really affecting the closing ratio here. So I love the fact that you've taken this book and you've decided this is how we're going to operate. This is what our process is. When you come in, within 30 days, you're going to meet with us. Hey, I don't know what was going on at your other agency, but I own this book now, and this is what we do, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's the big thing. And I coach my team up to that all the time, that we don't let our customer, our client, dictate the conversation, because the minute they do, they get what they want. And not that we don't, we talk about remarkable customer service every day, and we deliver that. But if we're the insurance experts, so we need them to kind of toe the line as far as the way we want our processes worked here, so that we can do what's best for them and what's in their best interest.
Right, and most people just don't know what they don't know, whether it's insurance or buying a house or getting a mortgage. They don't know what they don't know, and you can't, that whole pick your coverage thing. Holy crap! I'm probably going to get an email from corporate or a letter for saying this, but I think there couldn't be a larger disservice to your client than select your coverage, name your price, and we'll send out that. Oh my God, that scares the crap out of me to know that a company does that and markets it on a mass level. So corporate attorneys, send me your emails. I don't care. But I think that's. I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. But talk to us a little bit about your involvement with the program and how in this busy time of transition and getting to know your old book and moving offices and customer acquisition, hiring, training new people, how you're able to squeeze all this in, and what role that it's been able to play with what you're doing and aligning it with things going on in corporate.
Sure. No, it's been amazing. And for us, it's been the tip of the iceberg. We just really kind of started some of the main pieces of the program, and it's been unbelievable. We're taking referrals from realtors, taking referrals from lenders, and we're turning them into multiple policy. They call us obviously for the homeowner stuff. We're turning that into, sometimes I think we had one last week that was 7 policies. I've got another one. I just got a referral today that was a referral for a homeowner, somebody closing on June 2nd, and I just got the phone with the client before we got on, and now we're meeting them about a life policy, some possible financial services stuff. So, that's a lot of it, is just you got to take these referrals, and then you've got to cross-sell as many products as you can, because that's a strong client. But we're just starting to build the systems. To be honest with Sean, and you kind of know this, we're at the tip of the iceberg, and it's created so much business for us that we haven't gotten as deep as we want to, but that's kind of the next phase for us coming up, is to really dig deeper into the system and turn it on. I went from buying probably, 75, 100 leads a month to this month we've turned the leads completely off, and we're on pace to break the 153 policies written that we had last month. So.
And you're a beast. How do you stop that? How do you stop the continual record setting? I guess you don't. You just keep going. Let me put that into perspective for you. All right. So I talk to agents. I probably generate 25 to 30 leads a week is about where we can handle it. I could probably do more, but between all the coaching calls and putting out content, there's only so many calls that my sales guy can take, and then on top of everything I'm doing that I can back up for him. So trying to keep it around 25, 30 a day. And I've had people that I've talked to who have been in the business for 5 years or more and are writing less than 25 new policies a month. That's pretty average, honestly. Which was funny because I knew that within my company that I was pretty successful, right? I was the #1 rookie agent my first year in the business, and then I was always in the top 5 countrywide, even year 2, 3, competing with people who had been with the company 25 years. But when you're in your silo that is your company, you're like, okay, well that's cool, Liberty Mutual, but maybe our standards are way lower than every other company. So maybe compared to a State Farm or an Allstate guy, my numbers weren't shit. But when I got into this capacity, I realized what the average agent is doing and how bad they're struggling. I sometimes wonder, how are you eating? How do you live? I don't know how that works. But when I worked for State Farm, and for you guys who are really skeptical and analytical, you just have to Google me. You'll find it. It's in the Dallas Business Journal. They'll tell you which agent it was. It's not that hard to find people out online anymore. But I worked for an agent who was really successful in Dallas. I interviewed with a lot of agents when I moved from Missouri to Dallas as a team member. And we had 4 salespeople and 2 service people full-time. I mean, the guy made really good money. Had, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 households. If we did 100 apps a month, he was happy, and that was 23 years in the game. So, and that's a really successful agent. So, at this pace, John, I don't know. You're probably looking within your area, top 6. Oh, that's cool. But I bet if you really expanded that out to State Farm, somebody, 120 days. With their contract, I would have to think that you're probably a top contender in the country. And if you take it out across the country to be doing 150, 160, probably on pace to do 170 apps a month, this new in the game, I would have to bet that you're probably in the top 5% of within your tenure group of agents. I mean, that's just huge. So congratulations to you guys. Tell us what folks are really enjoying about working with your agency and why referrals, like from a referral partner standpoint, what they're liking about working with your agency and your processes.
Well, the things that you taught us and us coaching them and bringing value to the relationship. I'm going to have a seminar coming up probably late June that we're probably going to have 75, 100 realtors at. I've already got one feelers out. I've already got 75, 80 people. I've got brokers who are going to bring the whole team.
Nice.
And we're going to do a seminar based on trying to teach them how to use social media better to increase their business. So they like that. The other thing is we make it seamless. We've brought enough value to them that they know that the insurance piece is taken care of, and it's not something that's going to happen that's going to hold up the deal at the closing table. That we have everything done ahead of time. We have everything the lender needs 2 or 3 days ahead of the close so that it's seamless for them. It's one less thing they have to worry about and manage during the closing process.
Awesome. Before we wrap things up, we've got these guys. You've heard their mindset. Ben could have gone and walked into a turnkey situation. Did my screen shut off? Can you guys see me?
No, you're still there.
Okay, because I can't see me. That's really weird. Anyway, so Ben had a turnkey situation that he could have walked into, century-old, family in the business, and just walk into this deal. But he decided to carve his own path to success, decided to start from scratch and build his own agency his own way. The only person in Minnesota that I've seen come across out of the hundreds and hundreds, probably close to tiering over 1,000 leads just this past few months that have come through. I think the only person in that entire state who's had the forethought to say, I want to bring something completely different to the marketplace. I really want to pull in these referral sources and be able to bring something different than my handout and say, hey, I do insurance. Would you place your referral here, please? Because that's what everybody does. Everybody does. Whether these guys have been in 5 years, 10 years, Farmer, State Farm, Progressive, Geico, essentially they all write the same thing, and that's friggin' insurance. From a customer's perspective, they don't know the difference between actual cash value and replacement cost. They don't know whether or not the policy has water damage endorsement or backup of sewer and drains or dwelling foundation. They don't know if it's in there. Hell, half the time they don't even know who their agent is. So in their mind, it's all the same. From a real estate agent, mortgage professional, most of them, it's all the same. It's insurance. Just give me a policy, right? And you have to be able to bring something else to the table because they all see you guys on the same level. And so kudos to you for being able to step out and do something different in your marketplace. And John, like I said, you've got the record of being the newest person. We've had people borrow money to get in the program, people who couldn't afford it and were just in a dire situation to want to come through. But I don't think we've had anybody come through 14 days into the reserve program. So the fact that you're just ready to be like, you know what, screw it, I'm hitting the ground running, I'm going to take off, I'm going to do things different, I'm going to really lead the pack out here in California and take over, because it's a competitive situation out there, man. And then the fact that you've been able to really succeed at this level and being so brand new in such a hyper-competitive market where we know, or at least I hear, that pricing is not all that great with farmers out there, and you're still out there killing it, man, setting records for yourself and really leading the way as a new agent, brand new career agent. Congratulations, by the way, for knocking that out soon. And
John, seriously, what it comes down to, what I love about this program is, one, you're right, you got to dream big or go home, right? And the other thing is, you can duplicate everything you're teaching us. So, like the marketers I bring on, they're doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? So you just start multiplying. Because, like I said, you can only handle so many yourself. You eventually got to have your staff and your team working with you. Otherwise, it's not. I mean, you're gonna drive yourself out. You're just gonna go crazy if you don't have the time to take breaks. So, I don't know.
And John Scopic, same thing, in a hyper compliant, very much a bubble company. State Farm hates me. I'll just put it out there. They hate. I've already got a letter from corporate for my marketing practices against State Farm and the fact that, you know, the agents need to smack down. State Farm needs to smack down. No, but man, I've never seen agents work so hard as State Farm agents. I mean, you guys literally bleed red, and I love that about the culture of what you guys are doing there. But at the same time, like, I also see State Farm agents get caught into a rut of burnout, you know, putting in ungodly hours, missing out on their family times, and, you know, really missing things going on in their kids' life. And that's not what this whole thing is about. We get into this business for freedom, to build the team so that we can go spend time with our families and not be a slave to the agency. So while I see, like, some of the greatest success stories ever come out of State Farm, I also see some really tragic personal relationships getting compromised at the hands of becoming a slave to this team that you tried to build because you didn't have automated processes, because you don't have certainty in your marketing systems, because, you know, you can only mail 50,000 letters a week for so long before you realize that, God dang it, there's got to be another way to do this thing, right? And so for you to be able to step out so early and just be like, you know what, I know there's this State Farm way that's so successful, that has us, you know, being the #1 insurer in the country, and has us with one of the highest retention rates in the industry, and we have all these great things in the apps and so much customer loyalty, but I'm still going to try something different. And then, to take it a step further, the fact that you two, John and John, are both even taking it a step further to really learn lead generation systems for your referral partners and for yourself, to, like, be able to build something to go to a referral partner and say, hey, I have leads that I need to share with you, that I can drive you to the point of becoming an indispensable part of your business and your success. The fact that you're going to take it yet another level and join us in Break Free is awesome. It just shows, like, if you're a real estate agent or a lender watching this in California, in Illinois, or in Minnesota, like, you have got to connect with these three guys here, because they will do wonders for your business. They've paid good money and invested a lot of time into learning this thing that is social media and the internet and email marketing and video marketing and all these great things that we teach, that they can't always use for themselves because of compliance that, you know, has us by the puppet strings in the insurance world. There's only so much that they can do personally, but they are a wealth of knowledge that you guys have the freedom to do and to really grow and multiply in their business. So not everything that they're learning through this program has to do with their particular marketing practices. In fact, a lot of it is how to build value for your business and help you generate more leads. So by all means, reach out to these guys, connect with them, friend request them, and you'll start learning stuff just from the things that we're posting. But it has been 45 minutes, guys. I tried to get it under 30, but there's just so much good stuff to talk with you guys about. I could do this forever. I know you guys have a day packed full of stuff, so I really appreciate your time on here. I'll post a replay for you guys so you can watch it and say, God, I hate the way I sound on video, because that's how I always say, I hate the way I sound on video. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. Go out there and kill it, and we'll see you guys in Vegas.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys.